Okay, boys. Well, needless to say, very strange times indeed. Have any of us seen anything like it? I don't think so. So, you've heard enough depressing news on the news. You don't need me to drone on and on about it. So, I'm actually going to go out and do a wee bit of work on my car shortly, but nothing that you'll be too interested in. Brakes, wheel speed sensors, the usual. But I might actually do an extremely short clip for something I might want to pass on with respect to that work. But so what I'm hoping that this little video is going to do, because I have a few pals on YouTube, you kind of know who you are, you guys that I'm talking to, and anybody else who's interested, right? By all means, chime in the comments section, and if you've got something to add to the video series, my hope is that we can all actually get together and contribute something positive into the world, because there ain't much happening in that direction these days, is it? So first things first, take care of yourselves and your family, take appropriate measures, take reasonable measures. That'll be different for everybody. Just be cool, first and foremost, right? It's a serious issue. Consider the elderly. They need help. Right. So what this video is about is the 5 tools that made a huge impact for me as far as stepping up my game in the automotive realm. I'm just going to do this video in one take. I don't even care if I make any mistakes, because that's human nature, right? There is no edit button on life. But the point to this video series is I hope you guys watch it, appreciate it for what it is, and post your own 5 tools that made a huge difference to you as far as your understanding and contributing to your productivity and your knowledge base with respect to working on cars, because for the most part, that's kind of what my channel is about. I'm no mechanic. I'm just a shade tree mechanic. I'm just a interested guy on the weekends, let's say. Nothing more than that. So for me, these tools made a huge difference, right? So I'll start off with one that I haven't used much, to be honest, but I can see it being extremely useful to me. And that is this little rig right here, which is actually called the Voltcraft MS410. And for any of you guys that watch Dave Sturl, his YouTube channel, they've done a video on this, well, I don't know, I think it was actually quite a few months ago. In fact, I'm sure it was a few months ago, because believe it or not, I actually just received this a short time ago. I won't bore you with the details, but I ordered it from England because I had trouble finding any local suppliers on Amazon or eBay. I think it was Spyro Craft or Spyro Electronics, or anyway, go looking for it on eBay. You'll find it if you Google the Voltcraft MS410. And what it is not a non-contact voltage sensor. It's actually, there's a little magnet in this for test purposes, and it'll actually sense a magnetic field. Extremely useful. I actually used this at work the other night on a flight deck door locking system, which is nothing more than a solenoid. That sounds fancy, but it was basically a solenoid, and came in extremely handy. You can use this on ignition coils, you can use this on fuel injectors, relays, anything that will actually, motors of all sorts, anything that will cast a magnetic field of sorts for its normal operation. Is it going to tell you everything? No, but it's extremely handy. And a big thanks to the fella, I should get his name right, but I don't know it, and I'm not looking it up. Spyro, let's call it Spyro Craft or Spyro Electronics. He actually sent me 3 of these until I finally ended up getting the 3rd one that had a tracking number on it. So it's greatly appreciated. That fella is clearly a man of integrity, and I promise to send him any of the additional ones that ever do show up. But it was in October that I actually first ordered it, and it took me till just a few weeks ago to receive the first one. And I'm extremely happy that I actually prevailed on trying to get one of these, because it's a really handy little tool, and it's very, very reasonable. I think he sells them for in and around 10 British pounds, plus or minus a wee bit, and well, do the math on your local currency. It wasn't much money at all, and I can see this being extremely useful. The Voltcraft MS410, I can't say it's made a big impact in my life, but I can see me using this for a long time to come. Portable, dead easy to use, and can see it being very, very handy. Okay, moving on. A clamp-on ammeter. Doesn't matter, boys, whether you're talking about a standalone rig. I've had this one for quite a few years, but it actually is an extremely useful tool, or you have one that you can actually use with your scope, for example. Really, really handy, simple to use, and can give you a quick and easy reference, non-invasive as far as the wiring is concerned, just a matter of clamping it around, and you can get a great deal of information from the current draw on a particular circuit. So these are well worth the money. I think you can buy some Unity products out there that look to be an extremely good little rig. Again, go and Google them, go and look on YouTube, on all the usual channels that you guys look at, and you'll find ones. These are well worth the money and can certainly step up your understanding of a system big time if you don't have one. So get yourself a current clamp. Great tool to have in the box. Use it all the time, both at work and on cars. So yeah, you can't go wrong with one of these. Next item you should have in the modern day automotive realm, of course. If you don't already have one, you should have get yourself a scan tool of some sort, right? Even if it's just a basic of basics, something that you can basically read fault codes, DTCs on. It gives you a starting point and direction with respect to a defect on a car, and it's pretty much the first step in the process these days, let's be honest. If there's a performance issue or a check engine issue, check engine light, or really an issue of any sort, it's likely to have a fault code logged in the system. It will at least give you a starting point. Is it the be-all and end-all? No, it is not. But it lets you go through the front door of the system, so you can actually get a direction on where you're going. So it doesn't matter whether it's like a handheld unit. This was a couple $100. You can get this one. This is an MD802 made by this company here, Automotive. They make a lot of very reasonable priced products. Or you can get yourself something that's PC based as well, right? You can get yourself have the VPECer as well. So it's just a matter of plugging in your vehicle communication interface device. Goes into the data link connector, of course. You download all the applicable software and you can interface with that. And this has turned out to be a very, very useful tool as well. And I think it clocked in and around $170 Canadian. What's that? Maybe 90 British pounds, plus or minus a wee bit, whatever the currency, whatever the... Oh, God knows what's happening with the currency markets now. This could radically change in prices all over the world, I guess, depending on what happens with the market. Who cares? I'm happy to report my portfolio remains relatively unchanged. That means I don't really have that much money invested because I don't have much, so that's the benefit of just being a working stiff, I guess, right? If you get tons of money, you probably lost tons of money lately. That's half of a joke, okay, boys? And maybe it's no funny to some people. Yeah, so that's what we've gone through. 1, 2, 3. The fourth tool, I have to say, boys, is if you don't have one, get yourself either a cheap scope of some sort, right? You guys have heard me drone on and on and on about scopes. On the bottom end of the market, I cannot justify a high-end scope. If you can, great, awesome. You know, if your operation justifies it, but as just a weekender, you know, just like an enthusiast, I have to stick to the bottom end for obvious reasons, right? I can't justify high-end tooling. But my Handtech, and I won't show you guys the hardware, I'll just show you the software. My Handtech 1008 C, Charlie is the one I have, has turned out to be a great little scope. Not as capable as the Picoscope product. A wee bit more expensive, not much more expensive, wee bit more expensive. Only 2-channel, the Picoscope. This one I have is, again, on the bottom end of the market. Get yourself a Picoscope, even if it's the cheapest one they make. Fantastic. And it's not about the tool. It's about learning how to use the tool. That's where the real value is that you come to realize how much you've been missing if you don't have a scope. You have a manual and you see like Sometimes they'll give you reference waveforms for a particular system. You don't know nothing about scopes or have not invested in one. What do? You skip right by those pages. They're meaningless pretty much to you. You'll never use them. So to me, you're losing out on a great deal of understanding and the big picture, if you will, if you don't appreciate this end of things. If you don't use one and you feel you can get by in the world with it one, awesome, great, good on you. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. But for me, and that's what this is all about, is for me, these tools have made a big difference to me and my level of understanding. They've gone from, your neighbor level of understanding to some idea what's going on the big picture of a car with respect to the network, with respect to control systems, and what kind of signals various sensors and actuators will be looking for. If you start to get into that realm, to me, you've made a quantum leap to the next level with respect to what you're talking about on a vehicle. And I appreciate, guys, I'm not talking to the professionals out there. They already know all of this. This is no news to them. I'm talking to just the hobbyists, maybe like at least a good number of you guys that might be watching this. So, and I actually have, this is no, if you don't want to go the full hog, my old school Vantage, first generation Vantage is of course just a graphing meter. This actually is kind of the halfway point between the two. And this was the first tool I bought with respect to graphing meter scope capacity, and this actually tweaked my interest to the point where I did actually want a scope, and I went to the picoscope after that. And this is a fantastic tool that can be had on the used market. They're no longer supported by Snap-on, of course, but still a great tool. I think this is only version 3. You know, I can tell you all about your 2000 Acura Integra. I can pull that up in the database, but no beyond that. But who cares? The tool itself is still very useful with respect to a graphing meter and a basic DVOM, right? Great, and up to 10 amps of current. It can be graphed just through the leads, no clamp required. Can you think of another tool that does that offhand? I can't. Great tool, Snap-on Vantage, first generation, still a great tool and well worth the money if you can get it on the used market. So the last, that's 4 items. The 5th item I'll show you guys that I think is the best investment for the money. And that is simply the manual for your vehicle. Sorry about the strobing in the screen. I guess it's the flicker rate between the camera and the screen, guys, but there's not much I can do about that. The best investment that I think you can make in life is in yourself, in your education, because you carry it with you for the rest of your days. And the reference material to get you that education, to me, seems a no-brainer. It's ABC. You want to learn something, get the proper material to learn from, and put the effort in to learn it. No effort, no gain. Simple as that, right? So that's all there is to say about the last item. The best tool in your box, your brain. No, nothing new there. So, I hope this video makes some sense to you boys. The idea is I hope it can, and I don't care about numbers. I couldn't care less if you guys watch it and nobody else makes any contribution in this direction. That's fine. But as I said, something positive. We're going to have something, right? You know, things are pretty grim these days, let's be honest. So enough about that. If you're in the mood, do something similar. I'll be happy to watch it and we can have a chat in the comments if nothing else. And keep your families sound, yourself upbeat. Try and keep your... Try and remain dignified, boys. It's no easy in a time like this. Some situations might test your patience. I can speak from experience in that regard. All right, so be cool, boys. Cheers.